Hey guys, kia ora, whakalofa lahiatu, and welcome back to this week's podcast episode. I am so excited to get into today's podcast episode. I know I say this every week, but I'm always excited, especially when it comes to podcasts. I love all these episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. We are still on the relationship series, so this is episode number 3, and this is for all my couples or my couples, people who are in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, you can still listen to this. I think you'll find benefit in it. It'll help when you do get into a relationship to kind of see what you should do and all the things. But I wanted to start off with the 5 love languages. Now, I feel like this is, some people will be like, oh, not these 5 love languages. But if you don't already know what 5 love languages are, and there's plenty, like you can do this with your relationships, whether it be friendships. I think there's like a workplace one as well. You can do it if you're single, all these kinds of things. But I'm specifically talking about in a relationship. So there are 5 love languages, and basically it's the way that you like to be shown love, pretty much. So there's quality time, there's physical touch, there's acts of service, there's words of affirmation, and there's gift giving. So one thing I would recommend to do is to do this quiz. You can go online, there's a book about it and all these kinds of things, but go online to the 5lovelanguages.com and do the quiz with your partner and find out what their love language is and find out what yours is as well. And the reason I say this is because it helps you to know how you love to receive love. So, for example, for me, mine's acts of service. Met's is acts of service as well. My partner Met's, his is acts of service as well. If I know there's something he needs to do or that needs to get done, I'll do it for him if I can, right? To show him love. That's how he likes to be shown love. And I'm the same, so he'll do the same for me. I love a clean house. I love coming home to a clean house, or the dishes done or the washing done. And it's like, oh, my love bucket is filled, right? I'm also very high on quality time. So I love to have quality time with them, like literally quality time, which looks like sitting down, looking in each other's eyes, like actually being together, right? And talking and all the things. He loves physical touch. So that's like his top 2 as well. So I know that, when I'm walking past him or stuff, I'll touch him, I'll touch his body, I'll touch his, so there's all that touch, right? And it's just how you know how to show one another love, right? Because, he might be thinking, like, oh, I'm going to buy her all these gifts and stuff like that. And I'm going to be like, oh, I don't feel loved. And he's like, what the hell? I just bought you all these gifts, because his is gift giving, right? And I'm like, no, like, I don't feel loved because you gave me gifts, So it's like kind of getting on the same page with how you expect to be shown love, what fills your cup. So it's knowing your partner on that level, how they love to receive love. So I would recommend to go and do that firstly, to see, how your partner loves, what they love, what their love language is, how they love to be showing love, and do more of that. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you love to make the love of your life feel loved, And like I said, you can do this with friendships and stuff as well. It's such a good tool online. There's a book about it and stuff. It's freaking amazing. I would highly, highly recommend. And I think the second thing I want to talk about, there's lots of things I want to talk about, but another thing is communication as well. Communication is key. When I looked at, and I did a little look before I jumped on this podcast of like why relationships break down and stuff like that. And one thing that really stood out with me for me is the communication aspect, right? It's not having conversations when there's conflict, when conflict arises, not expressing your feelings, not communicating how you feel. So the communication is so crucial. But I think the main thing that is crucial when it comes to it is creating that safe space for it to be okay to communicate. Nothing's worse than you try to communicate with your partner and then they just think, oh, you're just having a go at them, and then it blows up and all these things, right? It's obviously an unsafe space. So you need to create that space where it's okay to come sit down and talk about your feelings and express how you feel. So I would recommend to book a meeting. I feel like I've said this in a recent podcast. I can't remember when, but book a meeting with your partner. Like, hey, can we sit down on, I don't know, a day of the week, whatever day you want, for an hour? I just want to really talk to you. Me and Mets have check-ins. We check in with each other every so often and sit down and we go over every area in our life. How are we feeling in our relationship? How's the financial aspects? How's their stuff going? How's their goals and dreams? How's all the things? Are you feeling loved? Is there anything I can do to better our relationship? All these things. So creating that safe space to communicate. And a lot of women I hear say, oh, he's not telling me how he feels. He's not, opening up. He's not doing this. And I'm like, I feel like you haven't created that safe space. You need to create that safe space for them to unravel in, for it to be okay for them to unravel. And I would be the same with Mets. I'd be like, oh, he's not telling me how he feels and all these things. But it wasn't until I realized I didn't create that safe space for him. And then when I did create that space, that was when he could drop in and he could express how he feels. He could, let go and tell me what's on his mind and all the things. And we could work out something together. I think something else that's really important is having the conversation, whether like, oh, do you just want to be like heard? Do you just want to vent? Do you just want to talk about it? Or do you want to find a solution? A lot of guys are like solution based. And I had to say to me, it's like, I don't want a solution. I just want you to listen. I just want to feel seen and heard and validated, that it's okay that I feel this way about something. I don't want you to tell me what to do next and how to solve the problem, right? So it's having that conversation with him instead of me getting angry and be like, you don't understand me, shut up, and taking it out. Just be like, hey, honey, like, I'm going to tell you something, but I just want someone to listen. I want to feel seen and heard. So don't worry about a solution, So having that conversation. Other times, when there's conflict in your relationship, if you're not feeling the relationship, if something's come up, it's booking in that meeting, sitting down and being like, I feel like, this and this has happened, or, the other day you said this and I know, and I think it's important that you take responsibility as well. So I know I got really angry the other day and I want to apologize because I didn't mean to come off like that. But the reason why was because you said that thing earlier and it made me feel like you didn't listen to me, or I didn't feel seen. So that's why I popped off that way. So moving forward, should we do this, this, and this? Opening that conversation. How's your day? Looking the person in the eyes and allowing for them to say how their day was, and knowing, what's going on. So communicating everything that happens, being open, being honest, and also actively listening to what your partner is saying as well, and getting that clarity, like listening, like actually listening, just seeing and hearing and listening, and not talking over them or not trying to find a solution, like I said, right? So communication is absolutely key. And another thing is having your individual life outside of your partner. So growing up, when I had like I would say like my teen relationship, I felt like I just merged our two lives together and that was it. There was no me alone or him alone. Like, it would just emerge and you just stay together and you don't talk to anybody else. You don't talk to your friends and all these things. And your lives just become like literally two. But I think it's so important that your partner has their life outside of you and you have your life outside of your relationship, and then you come together and it's even fucking better. So for me, like outside of me and Metz's relationship, I have all these things going on. I've got, coaching, and I've got all these friends, and I've got, I talk to my family. Like, I've got my whole life outside. And then when I come in, me and Metz work together and we have like an amazing relationship together. And he's got his footy and all these. And I think it gets really hard when you're so dependent and codependent on your partner. It's like they try to go out with their friends and you're like, no, what am I going to do? I have no one. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with my spare time. You're going to stay with me. And then they feel the pressure to stay. And then same with you. You might have an opportunity where it's like, I don't want to leave, my boyfriend. Everything just becomes intertwined. But I think it's so important that you have your life outside of your partner. You have other things going on for you. Your partner's not your whole world. And I know a lot of people are like, this is my whole world. And it's like, no, you need to, like, that's dangerous space. not to go into like a negative, but like imagine you guys do end up breaking up, and it's like you and your partner break up and that's all you know, and then you feel like your whole world is gone. Whereas if you were out still doing your own things, your own career, your own friends, your own family, your own everything, your own likes and dislikes and your own values and beliefs and all those kinds of things, it's like you've just got a piece of you that had left. That's the piece of your partner, right? It's not your whole world you feel like is leaving. So it's so important to have your life outside of your partner. Let me just drink this. It's a wine glass, but it's got water in it. I'm just bougie like that. I'm not getting drunk on the podcast. So yeah, individuality is so important, and it's less strain on the relationship as well. Um, Lastly, goals. When it comes to goals, and I say lastly, but there's so many more things. And if you haven't listened to my first podcast of this relationship series, the relationship with self, that's a huge factor into having a very good, healthy relationship. So you need to go back and listen to that and start applying those things. But goals, your goals are so important. And I think that you and your partner should be on the same page when it comes to goals. They should be wanting to help you with your goals, and you should be wanting to help them with their goals, and you kind of come together and help one another. So one of my goals is to do my life coaching full time, and then Metz's goals is around rugby, and he wants to get into the first grade for his rugby and all these kinds of things, just be the best he's ever been when it comes to footy, right? So when we come together, there are moments where we might wake up on the weekend and be like, I don't feel like doing anything. And it's like, no, babe, remember your goal. And he's like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go. And he's like, so what are you going to do? It's like, oh, that's right. I got to do my goals. We're checking in one another. And I'm like, hey, did you go to the gym today? And he's like, nah, this. And I'm like, remember, go to the gym, like get your goals, babe. And he's the same for me. Like, I'm feeling some type of way. And he's like, helping me out, keeping me accountable, helping me, empowering me, uplifting me, making me get to that goal, right? So we're helping one another get there. And we've also got like goals as a couple. We've got our individual goals, but just being on the same page. It's nothing worse than I'm trying to become a life coach and do all these big audacious things and make a huge impact in the world, and then I have a partner who doesn't have any goals at all. Like, how fucking conflicting would that be? They're just watching TV all day, laying in bed, and it's like, I'm trying to go out and do something. It's like, yeah, you have to be self-driven, you have to be motivated in yourself, but like that doesn't really align with everything that you're doing. It goes back to values as well, which I talked about in the relationship with self podcast, right? So you want to think about those things as well when it comes to a relationship. Are you helping one another out? Are you lifting each other up? Or are one of you dead weight? And one of you like not helping, or one of you like not pulling your weight and you're just doing all the heavy lifting. And I think that goes into the fact of like, you might be listening to this and being like, oh, that all sounds amazing, but my partner's none of that. My partner doesn't care about my goals. My partner doesn't care about my love languages. I don't feel seen and heard. I don't feel comfortable to sit down and have a conversation with him, then, or her. Then it might be a thing of, do I even want to be in this relationship? And you look at your values, and our values don't align. I don't want to be with someone that I can't even communicate with. If you talk to someone and you're bringing up an issue with your partner, and it's not, it's not taken, or, they blow up, or they take it out of proportion, or they turn it back on you and they gaslight you, or, that's a red flag. You should feel safe to say something to your own partner. And you may have to create that safe space for it to be done. And like I said, you want to book in those conversations, those meetings, because there's nothing worse when you're caught off guard. Maybe you're watching TV and your partner comes home from work and they sit down and they're like, babe, I really hate that you do this and that. Like, you're caught off guard. You're on the defense automatically. It's like, fuck, I'm just trying to watch TV. Then you want to come home and tell me how fucking shit I am because I didn't do the dishes? Like, what the hell? As opposed to, hey, babe, can we just have a conversation on Tuesday at 10 a.m.? Let's sit down. There's a few things I want to bring up. If you have anything to bring up, come and bring it to that conversation. Excuse me. Why am I losing my voice? I have been talking a lot today. Come and bring it to that conversation, right? And then you come to the conversation, and it's like you both have your guards down. You're ready for the conversation. You're prepared, and then the person's like, "Hey, I want to talk about, like, when I come home and the dishes are done, and I've had a really long day. I need some help. I need some help with the cooking. I need some help with the cleaning." And you both making a solution or creating a solution to getting that done, so that you both feel okay in that position. One person shouldn't feel that way. They should feel okay. It's teamwork, right? So you could come up with a solution together. So that's what I would highly, highly recommend. So if you feel like all the things I just talked about, you're like, oh, my partner's not going to help me with that, or he's not going to do that, or she's not going to do that, or I don't see it, maybe you might have to reconsider your relationship, right? If you're not happy with your relationship, you need to do something about it. Please don't waste your life away just in a relationship for, because you don't want to be alone, or for the kids, or for you might have to start looking like, do I even like this person? Or am I just here because they're the provider and they make the money? It's like, no, you deserve more. You deserve the life of your dreams. You deserve the partner of your dreams. You don't have to settle for less. So it might be, you realizing that, oh, actually, I don't want to be with this person anymore. Or you might have this list of things I just talked about, and you might try and start implementing it to create a healthier and happier relationship. But I feel like deep down, you would know kind of the route to go. My next podcast episode is going to be a little bit about, I guess, like heartbreak or ending relationships, or knowing when you should leave and stuff like that. But yeah, for all my relationship people, communication is key. If there's one thing, it's just communicate. Just talk it out. Create that safe space for both of you to be able to come and express the way that you're feeling, and be seen and heard, and be validated, and be just be fucking great, to be honest. And yeah, I think that's enough for today's episode. There's probably more I could talk about, but I'll probably talk about in the future. But thank you so much for listening. Ka kite, koe kia.